Steve, when companies don't get their data management piece right, it can have catastrophic effects on their business, can't it, in multiple ways?
Well, certainly it can have a direct adverse impact on the bottom line. And we had a client, and they're in the asset maintenance business, so their job is to maintain large engineering assets on behalf of the owners. And they essentially had a major debt problem. They had a lot of money they were owed and they weren't able to recover it. And the root cause reason for that was that essentially in their data there's a relationship between the asset, the owner, and what they called the managing agent, which would be the third party that the owner had hired to manage the asset on their behalf. Now, this data relationship is critical because when they undertook a piece of maintenance, they had to send the invoice either to the owner or the managing agent as per the contract that had been signed. This is further complicated by the fact that the owner and the managing agent of these assets changed quite often. So there was a problem. Because they didn't have accurate records of, on a particular date, who owned the asset, who was managing the asset, and who the contract was with, they'd been sending invoices over a period of years to people who weren't legally obliged to pay them. And of course they weren't paying them. So they built up over a period of time a debt significantly in excess of £10 million, and were having a great deal of difficulty recovering it.
Gosh, so an example where bad data in the first place, inaccurate management of that data has actually led to a company losing tens of millions of pounds.
Yes, and of course they're incurring costs as we speak, trying to recover that debt. And I think it's a good example. There's a couple of things I would bring out from it. The first one would be that really that MDM, that piece of data management, should have been better integrated with the order to cash process. So the operation of the business process and subsequent debt recovery as well should have been more tightly integrated with the data management. Then it would have become much clearer how important that data relationship was. The second one is it's a very good example that shows that MDM often extends outside the boundary of the organisation. These changes in ownership will happen. There's no guarantee that the old owner will tell you. So you have to design a process that somehow picks up on these changes in ownership and captures them back inside the organisation so that you can use them. So often MDM is a challenge that extends outside the organisation.
If you found Steve's wise words a good wake-up call and a challenge to check the accuracy and the meaningfulness of the data that you hold, and you've maybe got a nagging feeling that it's not all it needs to be, then you might also want to sign up for the rest of the series, and you can do that just by pressing the button on your screen. If you also have any questions or thoughts or perhaps a comment that you'd like to share with Steve, you'll find all the contact details here.